All right, so here we are. Chapter 33 is on toothed whales. Are you getting this screen up here? Whales come in two varieties. They come in, some of them have teeth and some of them don't. So we're going to talk about the ones that don't have teeth, that do have teeth first, the toothed whales. And that includes sperm whales, beaked whales, pilot whales, narwhals, killer whales, dolphins, and porpoises. Those are all considered to be toothed whales because they have teeth. And there's one right there. We've got a lot of dolphins around here. You can go on the dolphin cruises and see them. They like to play. They're very smart. They're vocal. We think that they have a great system of communication, like our speech almost. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Here's all the different types of toothed whales and about how big they are compared to one another. The common dolphin, spinner dolphin, Bell's porpoise, beluga whale. Y'all seen that? They got one in the Atlanta Aquarium.
The squid.
Where's the narwhal?
Is that squid?
There's a narwhal.
Yeah.
Killer whale. Look at it chasing the seal.
That's Shamu.
Is that a
Gonna
squid?
get him.
Narwhal!
Harbor porpoise, the vaquita. I don't even know what that is. I've never seen that. Pilot whale. Cuvier's beaked whale. That's a sperm whale. They like to eat squid.
Isn't that like Moby Dick?
Yes, Moby Dick was a sperm whale. Did y'all see the movie?
Barely.
It's a good movie. One thing that these toothed whales have is they have echolocation, and they can communicate and make sounds, and they have an organ right here in their head that can amplify sounds. They have little things in the back near their blowhole. This is the blowhole right here where they take air in and out through that hole. And near that hole they have these little, they're called phonic lips that vibrate and create sound. And the sound is accelerated through this organ here, and the organ is called the melon. The melon is this big organ in their head. It's why they all have like a bulge in their forehead. And it's full of a liquid that's kind of viscous, a thick liquid, almost like oil, that takes the sounds that are made by these vibrating phonic lips and amplifies them and sends them out. And sometimes the sound waves will go straight out, or the sound waves can bounce off of the jawbone. The jawbone has a shape, so it'll take the sound waves and bounce them out and extend them, amplify them, make them louder, and they can create all sorts of sounds this way. It's kind of like the same way our vocal cords and throat can create, and tongue can create all kinds of sounds. They can make a lot of different sounds. And we think that they have a form of speech that we're trying to decipher their language, but it's not easy, of course.
Aren't they like the second smartest animal?
It's hard to say. It's probably not. They're probably not as smart as chimpanzees and things like that. But they're definitely smart. They have a big brain, and they can remember things, and they can be taught tricks and all sorts of stuff. So they're pretty smart. They may be smarter than chimpanzees, but probably not. But anyway, they hear sound back here behind their jaw. That's for hearing right there. The sound comes in, it's picked up by their lower jaw. Their lower jaw picks up the vibrations and vibrates, and the sound travels through the jaw to this hearing organ here, the auditory bullae, which picks up the sound and sends messages to the brain to tell it what it's hearing. And so they have this system of communication where they can make squeaks. Usually the sounds are really high-pitched. We know dolphins can hear up to 70 or 80,000 hertz, which the highest sound we can hear is about 20,000 hertz. When I was talking about hertz, I'm talking about vibrations per second. Do y'all know about vibrations per second?
I do.
I'll play you really quick some various vibrations per second, just so you know what I'm talking about.
Whistle and stuff.
Yeah, a dog whistle is up at about 30,000, 25 to 30,000 vibrations per second. Dogs can hear it, and we can't. It's really high pitched, though. They don't really like the sound, I don't think. But let's see if I can find. Here we go. Oh, not that one. I opened the wrong one. Dang it. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'll make you a high-pitched sound here. There we go. That's 630 hertz. 640 hertz. That's 1200 hertz. That's 4000 hertz.
Sounds like a jet signal.
These things can communicate at 70,000 hertz. That's 10,000 hertz. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
That's 12,000 hertz. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
I can't.
I
I can
can't.
hear
I
it.
can hear it.
I can hear it. It's like
I
it's
can't hear
there.
it. The older you get, the worse your hearing will get. Can you hear that? It's
Yeah,
15,000.
Stop
Yeah.
barely.
No.
Can you hear that? That's 18,000.
Yeah.
I've been over here since 10,000.
Gosh.
Babies can hear 20,000, and the older you get, the worse your hearing gets.
Ah, yeah. What is it?
There, I can hear it now. That's 10,000.
I can hear that one.
You'll lose it as you get older, especially if you like to listen to loud music. And even worse for you is yard work, doing yard work without ear protection. So be real careful when you run machinery or yard work, lawnmowers. Make sure you wear hearing protection, or your hearing will go downhill quick. And it's no fun. It's no fun not to be able to hear. But anyway, these things got great senses of hearing. So that's it's very interesting stuff. Here's a video showing how they do it.
In basic terms, a dolphin's echolocation works like this. The animal produces a series of low and high frequency sounds that are transmitted to its organ.
I'm gonna talk to you later.
After the sonic waves hit an object, echoes bounce back. The greater the distance, the longer the delay in their return.
Like, is it
When the dolphin receives the reflected signals, it forms a mental image of the target's location, size, and speed.
When they're chasing a fish, they'll go into a huge school of fish and they'll zero in on one fish. And they'll follow that single fish until they catch it. And if that fish jumps out of the water, they're right there jumping out of the water with it.
Echolocation requires several component parts, each designed for a specific function. When integrated, they form the most efficient sonar system on Earth, natural or man-made. Dolphins have no vocal cords, yet they produce a wide range of sounds. The process is pneumatically driven, controlled by the flow of air. Rising to the surface of the ocean, the dolphin exhales, then takes a quick breath. The instant the animal submerges, the blowhole shuts tightly as inhaled air rushes through the nasal passages on its way to the lungs. The engine that drives sound production is the larynx, a piston-like organ covered by muscles. It controls the flow of air through twin passages in the skull, each sealed by a retractable plug. When the larynx is pushed upward, the nasal plugs automatically open and air moves freely toward two sets of flaps called the phonic lips.
The phonic lips are the main sound generators, and they're designed to work individually or in unison. When the pressurized air hits the lips from below, they vibrate rapidly and produce bursts of high and low frequency clicks at rates up to 2,000 clicks per second. It's an action that's been compared to the vibrating lips of a trumpet player blowing through the mouthpiece of his instrument.
Once air passes through the phonic lips, it is stored in pairs of inflatable sacs. When these sacs are full, they quickly deflate as muscles squeeze the air back down the system, past the open nasal plugs, and back into the lower cavities of the skull. Responding to the change in pressure, the larynx retracts, creating space for the recycled air. When the skull cavity refills, the larynx elevates to increase the air pressure. This triggers the nasal plugs to open, and a new cycle of clicks begins.
By recycling the inhaled air, the dolphin can delay having to surface for another breath. That way it can continue to echolocate for more than 10 minutes. This entire system operates with critical balances and regulation. Every component has to work perfectly within fractions of a second.
Pretty cool. Whales don't have teeth like most mammals. Most mammals have different types of teeth: incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. And the molars are flat and the canines are sharp. Most whales have all the same kind of tooth. They all look similar. And they don't really chew with their teeth. The teeth are used more for just holding on to something. And most of the time, these whales will swallow their food whole. They'll grab something and the teeth can grab it, and then they'll kind of jiggle it up and just swallow the whole thing. The teeth, they think, are also to show for mating purposes. The females like the good teeth. It's just like people, I guess. If somebody has good teeth, you think they're probably okay. Also, for fighting, you could damage, for defense and that sort of thing, the teeth can damage things. A little bit different types of teeth. These whales have been hunted for a long time. Most of them are protected animals now because their numbers are low.
Do you watch Whale Wars?
We're not going to watch Whale Wars.
No, I said,
you can watch Whale
Wars. I said, do you?
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. But this is a sperm whale. People caught sperm whales for a long time. There's a lot of oil in the whale's body that can be used to burn lamps, and that's how they used to get oil before they dug it up out of the ground. They get it from whales. The sperm whales also have other chemicals in their body. The melon of a sperm whale has this white chemical, this white stuff in it that looks like sperm, and that's why they call it the sperm whale. And it can be used for various purposes or processes. What? Yeah. What in the world? Hold on. Trying to find something. Here it is. So you'll read about this paragraph about how whales are protected. They're still hunted. It's illegal to hunt them in most countries, but some countries will still hunt whales.
Like Japan?
Japan being probably the biggest hunter of whales. It's allowed for scientific purposes, for catching and studying and tagging and that sort of thing, but it's mostly illegal for killing and taking the meat and the oils and that sort of thing. But it's still done in some places.
People eat whale?
Yeah, eat whale meat. Yeah.
Is it good?
Mm-hmm. I've never had it.
Oh.
Probably it's meat. Look at the head of the sperm whale. You see how big that organ is? The melon of a sperm whale is called the spermaceti organ. Sperm whales are capable of really deep dives. And they're capable of making the loudest sound of any animal. The sperm whale can really focus and concentrate the sounds it makes. With this giant spermaceti organ, it'll focus the sound waves. And they think that the whale can use these focused loud sound waves to knock squid out. With just a loud sound, it's like, ah! And it just knocks the squid out and then it eats it.
Can you knock a squid out? Like, you can actually knock one out?
Knock it out just with the sound waves, they think. The sperm whales are huge, and sperm whales will catch giant squid. Have you ever heard of the giant squid before? The giant squid are like 30 feet long as there's room. And the sperm whales will catch and eat them too. And the giant squid are tough, and they have tentacles with hooks and suckers. And you'll often see on the sides of sperm whales that they catch, you'll see scars from giant squid tentacles where they've like battled. Do you want to see sperm whale versus squid video?
Yes.
Here we go. Sperm whale versus squid. I'm fired up.
Is this fake? God. Freaking.
Sperm whales can also dive deeper than any other toothed whale.
Are they the deepest mammal diver?
Yeah.
Do they hang out in the dark or like in the light zone?
No, they go down where it's dark. They use echolocation to see. That echolocation, they think, can paint a picture in their head just about as good as eyes can. That's the picture they think that gets created for the whale using echo.
Why is his mouth flipped?
Boobard.
Oh boy, messed up.
God.
That's hilarious.
You hear that noise in my dreams tonight. We got him on lock. Here he comes. Here he comes, boy. Coming in hot.
Alright, calm down.
Wait for it.
Oh.
There he is. Large.
Oh God. Ink.
It's inking.
That was a freaking ad? You go see a whale?
That was, I think they got that from a museum.
No.
Let's talk about how whales dive. They have all sorts of different adaptations for deep diving. One thing they can do is they can, they have a real elastic tissues, meaning their lungs really stretch a lot. Their diaphragm is really powerful, and they can really take deep breaths and get their lungs to stretch way out. They shut down blood circulation to all organs except only the vital organs while they're diving, so that they aren't wasting oxygen on a bunch of cells that don't necessarily have to have it right away. They also can slow their heart rate to just a few beats a minute, and it slows down the amount of oxygen that's used. They have expandable rib cages that swell up to allow the lungs to get bigger. They have a lot of them pigment in their muscles called myoglobin. Now, myoglobin is a chemical that's in your muscles and it stores oxygen. They got a lot of it, a high concentration of it. So they have a lot of oxygen stored in their muscles for their muscles to use. They have more blood than a normal organism that doesn't dive deep has. They have more blood cells, higher concentration of blood cells per milliliter. We have about 5 million blood cells per milliliter. They have significantly more. I don't know what their number is, but maybe 10 million, you know, I don't know. They have a lot more blood cells in the same volume of blood, and that holds a lot more oxygen. So all of this lets them dive down and hold their breath for an hour or so, compared to you and me, who can just hold it for a minute or so. 2 minutes. Well, I'm better than y'all, but anyway, 3 or 4 minutes. But it's not quite as good as a dolphin. And most whales, sperm whales too, can stay down for hours to go as deep as they go. 6,000 feet deep.
This Atlantic grey seal is able to dive over 500 meters and stay under, following prey in this dim world for more than 1 hour. Like any sea mammal, when he makes it back to the surface, he takes in air. But when he's about to dive again, he doesn't draw in a huge breath. Instead, he actually blows air out. As this graphic demonstrates, although a seal's lungs are huge, before a dive, precious air is expelled. This reduces a seal's buoyancy and allows him to sink more easily. But how does he survive so long without air? A seal stores spare oxygen in its blood. Weight for weight, he has a larger heart and considerably more blood than a human. His blood is also twice as thick, meaning that it's jam-packed full of oxygen-carrying blood cells. To enable a seal to dive deeper and spend longer underwater, then it has a third trick. He can actually shut off the blood supply to less important parts of his body, allowing him to keep only the vital organs, the brain and heart, flushed with oxygen. The heartbeat also slows from 120 beats to a barely perceptible 5 beats per minute, a massive economy drive. At this depth, the water is like ice, but a seal makes good use of the cold. By sending the blood traveling from the heart via the skin close to the freezing seawater, he can actually cool his brain. And a cooler brain needs less oxygen.
They were showing that for a sea lion, but a whale does pretty much the same stuff. Killer whales.
Shamu.
Killer whales, they usually eat seals. They could pick baby seals off of a beach and eat them. That's what they do. You want to see a very dramatic whale breaching video?
Do you think they go after polar bears just given the opportunity?
That's a good question. I've never heard about that, but maybe, especially baby ones. They have beach themselves, and sometimes that happens where they come up to get a seal and then they can't get back down.
Don't they eat people?
But they'll usually kind of time it on the wave. As it comes in, they'll come in, and then as it goes out, they'll let it take them out. Do they eat people? I don't know if they've ever eaten people, but I guess they could. Now, one thing that people do is that they capture these things and they put them in parks like SeaWorld. Now, the ones that are in captivity have been known to attack and eat people. And they don't usually do it in the wild, but when they're captured like that, I don't think they like that very much. And there's a whole movie about that you can watch, check out and watch.
It's called
Blackfish.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix,
Yeah,
and it talks about how they capture these things and they put them in places like SeaWorld, and sometimes they eat their trainers. And after this movie came out, SeaWorld got a lot of pressure to release the whales, and I don't know if they have yet or not.
So is Shamu just one whale, or is
just one whale? Yeah.
Or is Shamu like multiple whales
Just
that
one.
they call Shamu?
I think it's just one.
They probably do. Just replace Shamu.
So if you want to get extra credit, you can watch this and get bonus. It's a good show. It's got a lot of awards.
What if I go watch it on Netflix?
You can watch it on Netflix and then come take the test over it. I have a test that I give over the movie, and if you do well on the test, you get extra bonus points.
Okay.
This is called a narwhal. Narwhals are only found in the Arctic Ocean, way up north, cold waters. They have a single tooth in their mouth, and it's this one. It sticks all the way out of their mouth and out of their front, and it's used for a lot of things. It's got nerves all over it for sensing. It can smell, it can feel touch. It can also be used for defense, and they think it's really a lot for mating. The females like the longer tusk. You don't see them very often because they're way up in the Arctic Ocean, and their numbers aren't very big. There's not a whole lot of them left.
Why are they so dramatic?
Male narwhals can weigh nearly 2 tons. With bodies up to 16 feet long. But it's their tusks that make them weird among whales. The tusk is actually a single gigantic tooth that can reach 10 feet in length. But why swing such a big sword? Scientists aren't exactly sure. Narwhals are an animal with misinformation and mystery, dating back to the Middle Ages when their tusks were fobbed off to royalty as unicorn horns. Is it used to impale their prey? No. Narwhals can dive more than a half a mile down to the ocean floor to feast on cod, squid, and cuttlefish. No stabbing or goring required. Is it used to poke around on that dark ocean floor? Possible, but improbable. Narwhals, like their dolphin cousins, use sonar to guide them through the depths. The tusk is jam-packed with nerve endings. Some scientists argue it acts as some kind of sensor. That would be one insightful incisor. But it's the males who predominantly sport the tusks. If the tusks had a survival advantage, the females would also be long in the tooth. Some scientists believe this means the tusk serves the same function as a deer's antlers or a teenager's hot rod, a way to show who's the fittest male around. Males occasionally cross swords. That's tickling the ivories. But whether it's a joust or a jaw section is anybody's guess. And the narwhals aren't telling.
They aren't telling.
I wonder why.
Why won't they give us their answers?
Now this is a beluga whale, and you can see how smart they are.
Why it's so secretive?
They're the only whale that can make facial expressions.
Bruh. Chill out, bruh.
They're white. They're found in the Arctic, and the white helps them blend in. They're real smart. They have one in the Atlanta Aquarium. That might be from the Atlanta Aquarium.
Looks like Colt Shaker just like.
It does.
They don't have a dorsal fin. That's one way you tell them from dolphins, other than they're white.
Bird.
They like to play.
I really consider watching this all day. It's really
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's like it feels like a different
pretty
video.
neat gift.
Every time.
Yeah, their facial expressions make them real cute. And the one in the Atlanta Aquarium just had a baby not too long ago.
Too bad it's gonna grow up in captivity.
Gave birth. If they mate in captivity and have babies, it really means that they're probably not too stressed. Usually, organisms that won't mate in captivity, they don't mate because they're stressed out.
Do they release them after that, or do they keep them still?
No, they've kept them, the babies, in there in the big container with them. How smart are dolphins? This video talks about that.
Smart.
I get asked, how smart are dolphins a lot?
They rate
The
dolphins.
better question is, how are dolphins smart? One thing we're interested in is how do dolphins make sense of their world? How do they perceive their world? How do they conceptualize their world? How do they represent their world? How do they communicate with one another? And that's what we're trying to look at. In terms of cognition, we're giving them tests which we think reflect cognitive abilities. Like, for example, one of the projects on the Dolphins Plus in Key Largo was where the dolphins had to cooperate to open a device to get fish.
We know that they do cooperate, but can they cooperate to solve a novel task? These animals are not accustomed to pulling ropes. These animals are not accustomed to actually opening their mouths on, things in training sessions. How can we test this? So we come up with a lot of cognitive tasks. We're trying to pair a behavior that they already know with a symbol on the board. But we want to get a little bit more insight into each dolphin's cognitive process and seeing, do they do the behavior that they learned first? Do they do the compatible behaviors, the incompatible behaviors, one at a time? Do they go left to right, right to left? Just looking at the way we read tells us so much about our cognitive process. So that's kind of the basis of the study. Self-recognition behavior is often put into a broad category. Our populations here at Dolphins Plus and Dolphin Cove have not been exposed to a mirror at all. So what we found is that we started to see changes in their vocalizations. Well, a lot of the times the mothers would stop in front of the mirror, different squeaks and squawks and jaw pops even, where the juveniles tend to be more social with, approach the mirror with other individuals. Typical behaviors in front of the mirror may not be self-recognition. It may be, why does this dolphin look so crazy in this mirror? Why is it not talking back to me? Why is it just mimicking what I'm doing? Self-recognition behavior, I think the study needs to continue on a little bit more for us to be definitive about, yes, this is exactly what we're seeing. In my opinion, I think we're just scratching the surface. We know more about the moon than we do about our oceans, let alone our species in the ocean.
I believe strongly that in order to understand dolphins, we need to study wild populations and we need to study animals that are in captivity.
So the advantages of working with wild dolphins is you have a great variety of individuals and natural context of behaviors, such as fishing and fighting or whatever, that are normal. There's no human disturbance of us in a lot of potential.
So clean up, watch video.
The Wild Dolphin Project is a long-term project. I started in 1985. The goal of the project is really to track long-term the life of the group of wild dolphins. Specifically, our aim is to really look at the communication system of these wild dolphins and figure out how they communicate in acoustics and body language and how complex their society is. We've got about 40 types of vocalizations. So there's different kinds of whistles. There's different kind of click trains, which is their sonar or echolocation. And then we have burst pulse sounds. They're actually a very frequently heard type of social sound. So we would categorize those types of sounds based on different acoustic parameters and then correlate it.
This one has different measurements as I look at the data, so I might say, okay, that's squawk. Type C.
All the studies we've done in captivity, everything tells us that these guys have big brains and that they can problem solve and understand artificial languages and think in abstract terms. But how do they apply those skills in the wild? I think one of the most surprising things to me after working in the wild for almost 30 years is that the individuals are so distinct. You know, we tend to think of a dolphin as a dolphin as a dolphin, and they're not. Individuals can be bold, they can be shy, they can be the networkers in a big group, or they can be peripheral animals. And so, you know, when we lose dolphins, or we lose even a small group of dolphins, it can really matter. But it's something we need to sort of switch our brains around a little bit.
They've seen dolphins caring for one another, helping out injured individuals, mourning a dead individual. They're pretty smart creatures.
Like elephants.
Like elephants, yeah. Read your section.